Parshas Chukas, Zos Chukas HaTorah. And the pasuk says, Asher Tziva Hashem Lemar, Daber el bnei Yisrael v'yichor elecha fara aduma tamima. So the mitzvah says a very unusual lashon of v'yichu elecha. Rashi immediately brings out a medrash rabbah. Why did it have to say v'yichu elecha? Bring to you a paraduma. It's a paraduma. It's a paraduma for anybody who's tamei tahar. And what purpose is served by saying v'yichu elecha to you meaning Moshe Rabbeinu? Medrash rabbah says la'olam hi nikres al shimcha para she'asa Moshe b'midbar. This throughout all generations, for all time, the paraduma will be called in Moshe's name. What is it? What is Rashi saying here? So it's brought down here from the Torah treasures that the Arizal says that a person who does not understand the deeper meaning of his tefillos should meditate on infusing them with all of the intentions of the Anshe Knesset Hagdolah, who composed it feels what they had in mind. The Chachamim tell us that Moshe was the only person in the entire history of the world to whom Hashem revealed the rationale of the Para Aduma. When the people of Yisrael will later prepare other Para Adumos, all they could possibly say when they're doing it is that they have in mind to invest in them the kavanos and the fundamental meaning that Moshe had when he made the first Para Aduma. That is what Rashi is saying. The Para Aduma will always be named after Moshe because we're always going to have to depend on his kavanos, the intentions that Moshe had when he had prepared the first Para in the Midbar. This leads me to a fascinating story from Lubavitcher Chassidus literature, which I'd like to share with you. It's rather long, but you will see at the end that it's extraordinarily worthwhile. It goes like this. During the time of the Alter Rebbe, who was Rav Shneur Zalman of Liadi, who was the founder of Chabad Chassidim, a law was passed that forcibly moved the Jews from rural villages to larger towns. They'd have to leave where they live and congregate in bigger towns. This is never. It predated the Nazis, who also moved people around. This particularly harsh decree left many Yidden destitute, they had no parnosa. A great deal of money was required to alleviate their plight. Not only were many poor families without basic necessities, but they had to bribe officials to leave the Jews alone. To this end, the Alter Rebbe began traveling extensively through the region, asking people for donations. On one such mission, it took him to the town of Volin near the city of Tolchin, where a Baruch, the Baal Shem's grandson, resided, the famous Reb Baruch. The Alter Rebbe decided to pay Reb Baruch a visit. Reb Baruch was delighted by this honor. What brings you here? Reb Baruch asked. Well, the Alter Rebbe replied, I am raising funds to bribe government officials to leave the Yidden alone. The pitiful plight of my brethren is too much to bear. Reb Baruch was surprised. Surely you could have averted this decree by using your ruchnius, spirituality. Why are you actually going around collecting money? You could have davened and could have averted the decree. The Alter Rebbe elucidated. I'm only following a precedent. When Yaakov Avinu was in danger, no doubt he could have used his chusim to alleviate the harsh decree without having to placate his brother with gifts and with bribes. But you see, he declared, I'm sending a present to Adoni Esav. And that's how he was appeased. Reb Baruch remained unconvinced. The Alter Rebbe was a great tzaddik. Why would he have to lower himself to act in this way, schlepping from place to place to collect tzedakah in a tevedik manner? But why didn't you just teach them the meaning of the word echad? According to the Baal Shem Tov's teaching, the decree would have then been automatically nullified. It was precisely your grandfather's echad that caused this whole problem in the first place, the Alter Rebbe replied. He then revealed the following fascinating story. After the Jews were expelled from Spain in 1492, not one country was willing to take them in. The reason for this, as with everything else, came from the upper spheres, the Malachim. In Shemayim, the Malachi shows representing the various nations were arguing amongst themselves. We don't want the Jews in our land. We don't want the Jews. The first thing they'll do is build shuls, and they'll build a base medrash, and they'll daven, and they'll learn. We don't want them to say Hashem Echad. The Malachim were afraid that this declaration of HaKadosh Baruch Hu's unity would nullify their very existence, which was an atomic existence, much as darkness is dispelled in the presence of light. This spiritual reality was reflected down below. The leaders of each nation refused to take in the Jews. There was only one Malach who was not afraid. The Malach HaShoris of Poland. In fact, he saw this as a golden opportunity to increase his own impure koyach. They don't scare me, he declared. I'll take them in. It'll be to my advantage. It's true they will build yeshivas. It's true they will study Torah. And they will say Hashem Echad. But they will not have the proper kavanah. And I will get stronger. So it came to pass. The king of Poland agreed to accept a bribe, a pile of money as high as a mounted Cossack holding a spear standing up. Indeed, the Jews arrived in Poland in droves. They built shuls, they built Batei Medrash, they established businesses, they learned Torah, and they said Hashem Echad, Shema Yisrael, Hashem Elokeinu, Hashem Echad. And as the ministering angel had predicted, they did not have the proper kavanah. The Malach was delighted. His plan was working. His own powers were increasing day to day. Unfortunately for him, the Baal Shem Tov came along and taught the Jews a dimension of Echad that was entirely different. He gave them the correct kavanah. That's not fair, the Malach of Poland cried. The deal is off. The deal is null and void. I only agreed to accept them under the terms of the old Echad, not this new one, down on earth. The Jews are going to be kicked out. They have to find another home. The noose was tightened around the throat of European Jewry. Many Jews were expelled from their villages. Now do you understand? The Alter Rebbe concluded. The new law is a direct result of your grandfather's Echad. That is why money is once again needed to avert the harsh decree. Having read this story, I approached Rabbi Orbaum and I said, what is the proper kavanah for Echad? So he said, what do you say? I said, Kabbalas al Malchus Shemayim, which is, of course, a very proper kavanah. My second kavanah is Mesiras Nefesh for Kabbalas al Malchus Shemayim. The third kavanah, which I had said until that point, was to be Mekayim the mitzvah of Kriyas Shema, Shachris, and Arvis. And he said, what you should add on is, I should have the kavanah Shekivnu Behem Kol HaKad Moinim. That is the kavanah of the Alter Rebbe. That I should have a kavanah to be Mekayim, the kavanah Shekivnu Behem HaKad Moinim. And that is what I have in kavanah when I say Shema. You can follow it or not follow it. You can hear what I have to say or not. But that's a good answer. When I said to you that they brought the Parah Aduma Elecha to Moshe Rabbeinu, that all Tyrus will not have any kavanah of what the proper kavanah for the Parah Aduma is. That's why it's called of Moshe Rabbeinu, Elecha. We will depend on the kavanah of Moshe Rabbeinu. He understood what the Parah Aduma had in mind and represented. We have no clue because for us it's a chayk. So in exactly the same way as the Alter Rebbe and the Baal Shem actually had taught the people the kavanah for Echad, Moshe Rabbeinu had the kavanah for the Parah Aduma, and we depend on his kavanah to fulfill the mitzvah of Parah Aduma, which we hope will come back very soon. I know that Dr. Eli Bennett was just in Eretz Yisrael. He went to a farm and he showed me a picture of 4 Paros Adumos. So the Paros Adumos are waiting for Mashiach to come. Let's hope we see them soon. Amen. Good Shabbos.